So everything that is contouring this inside is based on sensations. And the breath is extremely important. So you are focusing on the breath like razor sharp, and then you start developing or being aware that the sensations in your body are present all the time and that they are impermanent. Pain, bliss, tingling, heat, all of these things. I'm comfortable being who I am. It's comfortable being me and all this structure that I created, being born here, doing this, because what if you actually see me and you actually see that it's possible to do all of those things you've always dreamed about and to actually take all those risks. No, it's comfortable to be here. Shut up. Let's continue repeating our traumas, repeating our patterns, living this.
On today's episode, founder of Live Beyond, David Gamboa. David, hi.
Hey,
hi, and welcome back. So you're the first guest that I can say this to. You are returning. So for those who haven't heard the episode with you yet, it is number 7, where you illuminate us and talk to us about remote work, the future of work, and how we can build the structure around workplaces and work schedules that benefit the employees and facilitate their well-being, mental, physical, and overall happiness. So anyone who hasn't listened to them, go ahead. Number 7.
True, it's good to be back. Thank you very much. Hopefully I'm sharing a little bit more. And I enjoyed our conversation. So for anybody that hasn't listened, it was packed of a lot of deep, vulnerable sharings, I think.
Yes.
So yeah.
And thank you for that. Thank you for being vulnerable and for sharing your story as well, on top of all the good nuggets and all the wisdom that you shared.
Thank you.
So today, for the listeners, we're going to focus on a specific topic, which is meditation. And that is at the back of actually your recent experience that was very impactful for you, where you went on to do a 10 days, was it? 10 days of Vipassana. Just to summarize, what is that for those who don't know?
Right. Yeah. So I think the reason we started talking about meditation is I've been practicing for a while now. So it's been more than 5 years practicing mindfulness and using meditation to practice mindfulness. So Vipassana itself, it's a technique of meditation, right? If you think about meditation, the way I like to think about it is meditation is a tool to practice Vipassana. To practice mindfulness, right? Same as any tool, you can have different techniques to use that tool. So meditation has different techniques. We can talk about that. Vipassana is one of them. Vipassana is, according to the Buddhists, one of the oldest techniques remaining from the Buddha himself, from the Buddha that we know. There's many Buddhas. There's been many Buddhas. But the one we know about, Siddhartha Gautama, this is a technique he passed along and the one he used. So this is ancient Buddhism, specifically the Theravada type of Buddhism. So it's a specific technique. What you're mentioning is a retreat that exists in many places around the world, which lasts for 10 days. And these are 10 days learning. So it's not only a retreat, but it's a course, right? So it's 10 days practicing and learning the technique of Vipassana meditation, an average of 10 hours a day. And there's a lot of things that happen there. I'm happy to go deep if you want a little bit more deep.
Yeah. Fair enough. This is straight into the deep end. This is advanced stuff. But before we get into that, I want to hear more about the journey of meditation for you. So you said you've been doing that over 5 years right now. And tell me, how did you first get into that and why? And how was that evolution for you?
Absolutely. And again, another way to hook to that episode in which I was talking about my personal story. So not to go back to that, but really throughout a very dark period of my life, back when I was 30 years old. I'm 36 right now, going to 37. So I discovered mindfulness through therapy. I was lucky enough that my therapist was also a yoga master. So she was like into mindfulness. And I got this one book by Thich Nhat Hanh, a Buddhist monk who passed away sadly a year and a half ago, called Peace is Every Step. And that was new for me. It was like the concept of the present moment, that the quality of your life is determined by being in the present moment and not really identifying or chasing at some future that doesn't exist, or being clinging at some past that is already past. So that concept was new for me. I was like, why has nobody told me about this? I had a hell in my mind, you know. I was worrying about things that had never happened, and I was
probably wouldn't never happen.
And probably wouldn't ever. No, I think differently now. I think if you think and focus on things, you will make them happen, good and bad. You create your own reality. So things that happen to you are your creation. But that's another conversation. But that's how I became in contact with the concept of mindfulness. And then, of course, meditation is very related. So I remember, okay, this makes sense from a cognitive perspective. Okay, being in the moment, being in the now. Now let's put that to practice. I sat down to meditate back in the day, and it was 30 years of demons, thoughts, like unresolved issues, just come all at once, right? The concept of you sit down and meditate and you have to like stop thinking, like those were many things that I didn't really understand. So meditation was very tough for me. So actually I started practicing mindfulness in many different ways. Meditation came a little bit after. That's why I mentioned meditation is a tool to practice mindfulness, but you can practice mindfulness in different ways as well.
Well, this is very valuable, your experience that you just shared, because I think it's the same shared experience for a lot of people, where it's everyone knows that it's good. Like by now it's a very popular thing. Almost everyone knows what is they think they know what is meditation. They know that it's good for you. But if you actually question people about it, then not that many people are actively practicing it. And most of the people do not know how and don't necessarily have this, amazing experience with it. So this brings me to the question, how should somebody approach it for the first time? Say there's somebody listening that hasn't tried it and they know it's good, they know they should. So how should they approach this?
Okay, there's many things there. Maybe to unpack it a little bit. It's starting with the concept of it's good for you, right? It's like, what is good for you? There's many things that are good for you, but things that people don't do, or things that people know that are bad for you and people still do it. I think when you stick to the fact of this is something good for me, you're creating expectations already, you might be disappointed. And that's the main thing I see in many people that want to start meditating. They're like, I've tried, I'm not good at it, I can't do it, so next. It's because you create expectations about what's good or not. You're absolutely right that we've advanced a lot in the scientific research of meditation and mindfulness practice. It has a physical impact in the brain. I mean, it causes neuroplasticity. It helps not only the brain change its shape and its size, but also create new neural pathways and whatnot. So scientifically, it's proven. There's thousands of studies that are like, meditation is good for this, this, and that. Meditation is not new. It's something that if we trace the Buddha, it's 2,500 years ago. But meditation existed even before the Buddha. So the first thing I would say is like, okay, there's good things, yes. Now, instead of creating an expectation, what's your intention with starting a practice? Let's go that people believe, okay, the skeptics say, it's good for me because I will improve my focus, my concentration, my immune response, my emotional intelligence, my resilience. The benefits are a lot.
Long list.
So you want to start, right? How to approach it, I would say. Have an intention. If you really want to change something is bothering you, something is really, for me, the main superpower of meditation is that it gives you that millisecond between action and reaction, or like, cause and effect, or something that happens to you and how you react to that. That is for me the most important or most powerful thing behind meditation. So if you think about that, that will not happen until something happens to you. It's not like going to the gym, in the sense that you go to the gym a month and you see, if you go properly, you lose weight, you get stronger, all of these things. Meditation takes a little bit longer in order to see the benefits, but they're there. And it's very, very telling when you have a strong challenge or something like that, and you have that bit of time or space to say, okay, I did not react that way before. So we can go a little bit more deep into all the benefits of meditation. For somebody to start, I would say create the habit, sit down. Create the habit of sitting down. I remember the one thing that got me into meditation was somebody that said, if you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life. And I was like, you're right. And it's something so simple, but yet we don't stop for a minute, or we don't stop for a bit to just sit down in a room quietly alone. And it reminds me of a quote by Blaise Pascal, which is, all the problems of humanity stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. So first step, create the habit. There's many ways to create that habit. I can also go in deep into that, but I would say that's the first thing. Build the habit to sit every day.
Definitely agree with that. And funny enough, actually, we're doing this whole episode on meditation, but I've had a recent guest where we were talking about breathing exercises and how, because meditation and this ability to actually sit with yourself alone in a quiet room, if you think about it, is quite an advanced thing to ask from somebody that has never done that. Breath can be a great gateway to ease into that, because that is something a bit more tangible, a bit more practical for people to grab onto, to then ease them into this state of meditation. But that's just
100%. There's one thing I would like to flag there, which is meditation is not breath work, and the breath is essential in meditation. The different techniques that I mentioned, and I'd be very happy to share, like you can have meditation techniques that involve visualizations. You can have meditation techniques that involve verbalization, like mantras. There's very popular to talk about TM, transcendental meditation, in which you repeat a mantra, or visualizations in which you visualize something, a light or something else. Contemplative meditation, in which you are like looking at an object, a candle, something like that. All of them really involve the breath. If you think about what you're doing with mindfulness, and we talk about the present moment, is you're coming back to the present moment. No future, no past, present, right here, right now. The way to connect to that is to connect your mind and your body. And the breath is that bridge. The breath is the bridge to connect the mind and the body. And therefore, through the breath, you come back, you come back, you come back, you come back. So what your friend was saying is absolutely true. If you're more aware of your breath, you're naturally coming to the present moment. However, there's many other types of breath work, holotropic.
Definitely.
Wim Hof breathing, all of them.
So you touched upon a few techniques of meditation already. Do you want to lay out all the spectrum for us, or at least the most known one, the most practiced? Because this is also another thing. People say, okay, meditate. Okay, you said also, okay, sit down 10 minutes. Then what?
Okay, good. Yeah, we can go a little bit deeper into that. I think I'm going to share what has come into my experience and what I know about. Does that include the full spectrum of it? I don't really know. The key thing is, like, what are you doing while you meditate? You are in a state, or you're practicing a state of non-judgmental, non-distracted awareness to the present moment. And the present moment is what it is. There's nothing else. Everything else is in your mind, right? So it's like the present moment already has this internal monkey mind that is thinking all the time, chattering all the time. So what you're trying to do with meditation is to be in the moment and to be non-distracted, right? And not judging what goes in your mind. When you sit down to meditate, your mind will do whatever it does all the time. The thing is that you don't necessarily notice it because you're out and about in your day and doing things. The minute you start meditating or sit down to meditate, you will remember what you have to do, what you didn't do, all of those things. The key thing is not to judge that, just to let it be. Let the thoughts pass. Become aware of your thoughts. You will not blank your mind. Maybe if you're way into meditation, like a monk that sits hours, you will come to times of no mind or blank mind. But that's not the purpose. That's not why you sit for meditation. So going back to
So why do you sit?
You sit for meditation because of all the benefits that we talked about. You sit for meditation mainly to be more self-aware. You're practicing is awareness. You're knowing yourself better. You are going deep into what you really are. This conversation can get a little bit more mystical and metaphysical because of that, because that's the main question many humans want to resolve. Who am I? Right? And the I and the me can be very different. Me can be this construct, like I would say, who are you? Or if somebody asks, who are you to anybody else, they would say maybe their name, where they were born, what they do for a living. I am an engineer. I am a psychologist. Not necessarily. That's what you do for a living. That's your name. That's where you were born. That's your story, but that's not who you are. Right? So the me is kind of a construct. And it's very nice in English language how we have this difference between I and me. What you're doing with meditation or any mindfulness is to really sit down to pay attention to that. Who am I really? So before we go into the spectrum of techniques, let's do a little exercise. Okay? So say hello.
Hello.
Okay. You said hello. I listened. You listened. It's an object and a subject, right? Now think hello. Okay. Did you hear yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Who heard?
My consciousness or my thinking brain.
Okay. So you start questioning those things. If there's an object and a subject, who is observing that? Who is listening to that? So then you start going a little bit mystical and metaphysical. It's like you are consciousness. You are eternal awareness, let's say. When you sit in meditation, you are aware of that is aware. So the way to do it is to sit down and pay attention to what is going on. So there's many different techniques. I would say all of them are good here, and hopefully this message passes. Like whatever you choose, whatever works for you, beginning, whatever's easier for you to get into this practice, use it,
So you can just sit down quietly, close your eyes and focus on your breath or focus on observation.
Exactly.
Or you can look it up somewhere and maybe repeat a mantra, or you can focus on, as you said, an object, a candle, flame, or something else.
Exactly. So going into that, so it's like if you verbalize, there's mantra, and transcendental meditation is a specific technique of meditation in which you get your own mantra, and that's your mantra. You repeat that. Loving kindness meditation or metta meditation in Pali is to spread love. So you repeat verbally, may I be happy, may I be safe, may I be at peace, may you be happy, may you be safe, may you be at peace, may everybody be happy. So it's another way to verbalize. Right? If you want to count your breath to sort of get into the concentration, 1, 2, 3, 4, or breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, you're verbalizing in your mind. That's a way to focus the mind, to concentrate the mind. It's good. It's good for you. It helps in all of those benefits that I sort of laid out earlier. Visualization as well. So there's people that say like visualize a light coming into your body and going from top to bottom.
So healing can be healing.
Oh yeah, this is healing because you're healing emotional traumas. You're becoming more aware that things don't happen to you. It's your reaction to things. So emotional intelligence comes after.
So would you visualize things that you want happening as well?
Oh, that's another way. That's another type of thing. I would not say that's specifically mindfulness.
Yes, because that's already exerting some sort of energy towards something to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's wishful thinking. And you do that all the time.
Yeah.
Like all the time, you're thinking about things that you want or you don't want. And that happens through feeling, right? This feels good. I want more of that. This feels bad. I don't want it. Good and bad, in the spectrum of feeling. So let's say to break them down, visualization, verbalization. Vipassana it's only sensation, right? In all of these, you connect to the breath. So if you sit down, let's say for the beginner, sit down in a comfortable posture. Normally sitting down is best, really straight. And maybe we can link a video on your show notes that helps you with the posture for meditation. It's very important. But sit down comfortably and be aware of your breath. Of course, you're going to go away thinking about life and things.
And this is what I really liked about the way that you spoke about this. You said your mind is going to do this, and that. And your thoughts are going to... So but what I like about that and what I want to draw people's attention to is that is something that you possess, but that is not you, in fact. So to kind of summarize what you said, meditation is really about you holding that space for whatever shows up without any judgment and without necessarily exercising any sort of form of action. It's just being. And whatever comes up, you let it be. That is it.
And that's it. That's why you're not doing anything when you are. And this is controversial because you know the A types of people that are like, hey, I'd rather do something than sit down to do nothing. So it's not that you're doing nothing, but it's not that you're sitting down to do something. You're just sitting down to be aware of what already happened. And that is by itself a superpower because you are opening doors that you did not really know that existed. So that's why when we talked about the benefits, all of those things are amazing. And there's all of these like more spiritual things that happen when you do the practice and when you sit down. Life changes, really. It changed my life. I remember the one day I saw progress in meditation, because that's the other one. How do you stick with a habit? You need to see some progress, right? So it's like, I remember I was going out I used to work in banking and all of that. I was in Green Park Station here in London, and I used to be walking, and I was like, oh, that building is so beautiful. And I was like, I've been walking this same road for 6 years, and I had never paid attention to this building. It's because you start to be more present. You start to be more aware of the distractions. I mean, you start to reduce the distractions, which are internal and external. So those are the different techniques. And then going back to Vipassana, that's, let's say, a deeper technique. And that's why starting this conversation, you said you just lived an experience that was very impactful to your life. That is true.
Okay, let's I think we've explored the most popular types of meditation that people can start with, and essentially how to do it. Again, bottom line is it's not hard. Just dedicate that time, start with those 10 minutes, and just consistently keep showing up. And I like that you mentioned the A type of people that are going to say, well, this is a waste of my time. I have no time for this. It's a practice of non-reactiveness that will then positively impact your ability to make money, progress in career, have good relationships, have better sleep, have better health. So it's a pretty great payout for a very low effort activity.
Yes.
So this is the selling point to the very active types 100%. Of people.
I mean, if the skeptics or busy people, are still being skeptical about why doing this, you can see the examples in the science. You can see the examples in what are considered to be successful people. One of them, Ray Dalio, he talks about transcendental meditation a lot. He basically says that the one thing that helped him recover from that big, let's say, mistake that he did when he tried to call the market. Ray Dalio, by the way, for those who don't know, hedge fund leading of one of the best hedge funds in the world, which I think is Bridgewater, I think is the one. So it's like, he basically talks about transcendental meditation a lot. So like, you have those examples. It's not that it's easy. It's actually very uncomfortable. And sitting down with your mind and with yourself, it's uncomfortable. So it's something that it's effort. It's not effortless, right? After many, let's say, sit downs, like after practice, as with everything, it becomes a little bit effortless, right? It is something that you're going to sit down and you're going to be uncomfortable. The mind doesn't like to be seen. The ego doesn't like to be tested. We need an ego. We need this human condition. We have this for a reason, but it doesn't like to be seen. So it's like, oh, leave me alone. I'm comfortable being who I am. It's comfortable being me and all this, structure that I created, being born here, doing this. Because what if you actually see me and you actually see that it's possible to do all of those things you've always dreamed about, and to actually take all those risks? No, it's comfortable to be here. Shut up. Let's continue repeating our traumas, repeating our patterns, living this autopilot life.
Because it requires so much more effort and energy to change your habits. And to, I don't know, the image that's coming to my mind is like when you go into a jungle and there is no path, and you take your machete and you need to create your own path. That's the level of exertion that's required to break your habit and essentially change the direction of where you're going drastically. And this is what you're talking about. The mind, the brain, the human nature is to be as lazy as possible, getting as much as possible, do as little as you can to get as much as you can. So it's understandable. But then again, what do you want more? Do you want that dream life? or do you want the comfortability?
Right.
They don't usually, almost never go hand in hand.
Yes, and there's people that are very comfortable out there just doing whatever they're doing. I think in discomfort or in the edge of discomfort really exists growth and magic and a lot of awareness that, as I mentioned before, you open doors that you did not know existed. You become aware of things you were not necessarily aware before. You start questioning things. You see different possibilities. So I can understand why people sometimes would be, I'm fine as I am. I don't need to bother again. I've gone through moments like that. This is the beauty, for example, behind Taoism and Taoist philosophy, which is like, sometimes you become so self-aware that you get yourself in the way. And when I got that feeling or that notion, I was like, yes, sometimes it's like the idea of like, I'm self-aware, I am this, like all of these questions, and then get yourself out of the way. That's sort of like a second bit of mindfulness in which you understand that thing that listened to you say hello is just an illusion. And there's nothing else but consciousness. So that's also like something you start opening and understanding and feeling through the practice of meditation.
So when you get to that point, what is the next step?
Okay, so maybe it's worth mentioning the step-by-step as the Vipassana tradition.
Yes, okay, let's get into Vipassana. You said that it's another tool, but let's delve deeper into that.
Vipassana is another technique.
Yes.
To practice, to use the same tool of meditation. And the reason we started talking about this was because I attended one of these retreats, these courses. And it's basically, as I mentioned, 10 hours on average per day during 10 days, sitting down, practicing this technique of Vipassana. And they lay out a step-by-step of first do this, first do that, first do this, then do that, and you will get somewhere, right? So
what is that somewhere?
To become aware that everything is impermanent, right? I think we can understand that at the conscious level. We're like, oh, everything passes by, everything comes by. There's nothing constant. The only constant is change. As many wise people have said it. I think we understand that, right? Like once you become more experienced in life, you know that there's ups and downs. The pendulum swings. It comes and goes. Sometimes we forget about it. So we attach to the good things. And when they go, we suffer.
Sometimes we attach ourselves to the pendulum and then we swing on these wild rides. And then sometimes we zoom out and then we observe the pendulum.
Exactly.
And then
if the pendulum is going to swing again, you can dodge it.
Yeah.
And you can remain calm in the swings of life. If you understand impermanence, but not from the cognitive level, but from the experiential level. Okay. That's sort of like where you get or you get at the end, let's say, of all of these things.
I suppose it helps you come to terms with the concept of your own mortality as well?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go into that.
If everything is impermanent, of course, life comes and goes. Now, we've known because of science that everything is made up and built of subatomic particles, and as we delve into physics and quantum physics and all of these things, we have understood that everything at the end is energy. So this is something that science has proven more recently in human times, but this is something that also the Buddha said. He just had a different name for it. And many people know that we're only but energy, right? So once you understand and feel that your body is just a cloud of sensations and that you are nothing but just energy, you gain a different level of wisdom. You know what I mean? It's not just wisdom, cognitive wisdom, but experiential wisdom. It's in your cells. You tend to understand this in a more real way, right? So you become aware of impermanence. You realize that you're not but energy, that you will pass away as well. And these are the insights that some people call enlightenment, right? So to answer your question, what's the final step according to different traditions? Enlightenment. Once you understand that everything is a consequence of causes and effects over many lives, let's say, that's what the Buddha and many other enlightened beings sort of reach. Is that what we should be striving for? I don't necessarily think so. I mean, I think
Why?
we should strive to live a good life and to live an examined life. This is something that is attributed to Socrates. Like, the unexamined life is not worth living, and is live a life on purpose and with what you would like to live and accomplish the things that you would like in this life, heal from the things that you have to heal. And I think that's what we should strive for, using the word should, which I don't particularly like. But there's no, again, I want to be enlightened. What does that mean? All of these things are more mystical and spiritual. But I think with meditation and with these techniques, you are really becoming more aware. You are healing yourself. And there's specific steps on how to do that according to all of these. And Vipassana is one of them. Very happy to delve deeper in that. But
let's delve.
Where would you want me to go from now?
I mean, so you've spoken about Vipassana. Can you tell me a little bit more about how those 10 days were for you?
It's 10 days in complete silence. It's called noble silence. That goes beyond.
So for 10 days, you can't speak to anyone ever at all.
There's nuances to that, and I'll go into it. In 10 days, you're not supposed to speak. You're not supposed to read. You're not supposed to write. You're not supposed to make eye contact with anybody. You're not supposed to communicate in verbal
sign
language. None of that is what they call noble silence. You are allowed, of course, to contact the instructor, who is being aware that people are sort of having good progress through the course. So you have 5 minutes every day to speak to him or her.
If you need to.
Which is a good remark, because some people just like speak for the sake of speaking. And I'm actually writing something on Vipassana with some tips and tools and things to do or to keep in mind before doing your first 10 Vipassana course. I can share a little bit more of that here, and I will share the link so people can access for when this podcast is out. But that's one of them. So it's in silence, 10 days. Basically, you wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning and you go to bed at 9:30 p.m. at night. And then you're meditating for an average of 10 hours per day, practicing Vipassana in different stages throughout the 10 days.
So it's not like you're sitting for 10 hours.
You are sitting for 10 hours.
You are sitting for 10 hours.
Yeah.
So is everyone sitting together? Is it just dispersed? You sit wherever you want, in the forest, in the woods, in your room?
No, it's very structured. So you get segregated between men and women.
Why is that?
I think I don't know the spiritual reason or their spiritually. I know it's a lot of like distraction. I mean, it's sort of one of the things that I know they do it because of distractions. I also know it's because of energies. So it's like energy, masculine energy, feminine energy. But they do that. There's a conversation that's going on about like, what if you don't identify as a man? Why do you don't identify as a woman? But I think that's a conversation for another time. But you get segregated in that, and then you are meditating in the meditation hall at times in the day, or in your meditation cell at times in a day. So you're given a space, like a room, let's say, for you to meditate on your own, without distraction. That's what you're doing. On average, 10 hours a day. It's not 10 hours straight.
Sounds very hard.
It is very hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, I can imagine. So what bring me back to the moment that was extremely hard for you. You were fidgeting. You were like, I can't do this anymore. Oh my God, I want to escape, or whatever it was for you. And what did you do?
Every day is a struggle. Every day you think about leaving because your mind wants to get you out of there. It's not comfortable at all to be staring at your thoughts and your consciousness for that period of time. It's something that we're just not used to. Only monks who do this for hours, for years, you know. So it's super tough. According to their statistics, day 2 and day 6 are the days in which most people leave. They just leave because it's too tough. In my perspective, my experience, day 4 and day 7 were the hardest for me to be there. I found in which basically my body broke and my mind broke in those 2 different days.
Body broke how?
So you're sitting down. This one of the, so in this thing that I'm writing, and we talked about posture, right? In the habit of sitting down. If you're sitting down for 10 minutes, 10 minutes is good every day. It's amazing. Do it. Sit down with a good posture, right? I've been sitting down for years, and it's not the same to sit down 10 hours. So posture is super, super important. That's why your body breaks, because breaks in the figurative sense. You're sitting down in either cross-legged or kneel. You can ask for a chair if you can't handle any other posture, but you are putting the body through an extreme thing, which is like sitting down in this position for that long. So your back is going to hurt. Your knees are going to hurt. So on day 4, I remember I was limping for like half of the day. And your mind is going to get you out of there. However it can. And I remember it's like, no, self-love. You don't need to be here. You like to exercise. You're going to do this for 10 days, but then you're going to be injured forever. It's like, it's the chatter, you know, your mind is going to try to get you out of there. One of my tips in this thing that I'm writing is do not leave. Do not leave. Of course, if you're there already, day 0, you're like, of course, I'm not going to leave. And you will be surprised about the tricks that your mind is going to play on you.
Some people actually leave.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. People leave. Second timers leave. It's tough. Every single time is tough. So my body was breaking on day 4, and my mind was breaking on day 7, because I came down a very existentialist day in which when you start really comprehending from a more experiential level the concept of impermanence, you know, it makes you question a lot of craving, aversion, all of those things. So the don't leave is 2 ways. It's like, don't leave because you can do it, and it's going to be amazing at the end. And also because you're going to be moving a lot of energy, a lot of things, and it's not really wise to leave a process like that abruptly.
So what was or some of the most important things that you gained, or insights, revelations that you took from those 10 days?
Yeah, the word insight is super important. It's actually, Vipassana is known as insight meditation. Is really to differentiate it from the others that I was mentioning. You're not verbalizing, you're not visualizing. If you want to put it simply, Vipassana technique is from the skin inside. So everything that is contouring this inside is based on sensation, and the breath is extremely important. So you are focusing on the breath like razor sharp, and then you start developing or being aware that the sensations in your body are present all the time, and that they are impermanent. Pain, bliss, tingling, heat, all of these things. So you start every day, and you become and develop this razor sharp mind that is able to pick up on the sensation. And then it gets a little bit deeper. Now, that moves a lot of energy. You're vibrating at, let's say, high frequencies, which unties a lot of emotional knots. So a lot of things come up, weird memories, weird things that I was like, oh, wow, you know.
That you were holding on to.
Yeah, maybe I didn't even know I remembered that. So lots of things come up, they surface, you know. I remember it is said in the course that what you're doing is doing a surgery to your subconscious mind. You're opening your subconscious mind and letting all those things that...
It's a purge, in a way.
Yeah, it's another way of healing. It's another way of purging your subconscious mind. So a lot of my insights were, I went with the intention of doing whatever I was asked to do and asking for clarity. So I got a lot of clarity around my business, my personal relationships, things like next steps. All of a sudden, things were insanely clear for me. Like, this is what I need to do because it feels right and it's there. When you shut down the noise of everything else, your words, all the stressors and external influences, you're super, super clear. So this is one of the main benefits, again, of meditation. Your mind is clear. You have clear thinking. You have better decision making. So that was another good thing about that happened to me. Creativity, insane, like just like a stream of ideas that became a little bit hard to handle because you cannot write anything. And I'm somebody who is used to writing down my thoughts and things.
Me too. That sounds like a nightmare. I would want to like scribble them into I don't know, forest or in the ground so I can come back to them later.
Yeah, exactly. But then you trust in your subconscious because they're going to be there for retrieval. That's another benefit of meditation. Your memory just works better.
Yes, because in a way you declutter it to a level that you've never done in your whole life.
Yeah.
And just as computer needs cleaning, like a reboot every, I don't know, 5 years or something, so does your mind.
Yeah, that's true. That I would put it like that as well. It's a decluttering, it's a clearing out. Your senses are insanely are exponentially more powerful, I would say, if that makes sense. You're hearing, you're seeing, everything is, it's amazing.
Sounds like a limitless pill.
Exactly like that movie. You really become super sharp in all senses. You feel good through the pain that we're talking about, through the discomfort that we've been talking about. But all these things start bubbling up, and you're like, wow. We as humans we're just exploring our limit, and that's been seen.
I want to see David Goggins do Vipassana.
Has he not?
I don't think so.
Okay.
At least not that I know of.
Okay.
Not that I'm an expert on him,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you feel why, right? Because his way of getting into the state and getting into the flow and getting to, I think his way of meditation is through enduring this pain and to this constant physical activity every single day. I would love to see if he would be able to do.
I'm pretty
something
sure.
like
I'm
that.
pretty sure this is another concept as well. Like specifically talking about the Vipassana course. 10 days, let's say 12, because you need to get in and you need to get out. People can do it. But if you're going to go there to just struggle during 10 days because I will be able to do this, you will do it. Nobody has died out of Vipassana. People will. And you can see the stubbornness. If that's also another type of, or let's say, style of ego. It's like, I will do this. I'm able to do this. The idea is to go there and surrender to whatever happened, or the intention, right? So David Goggins will do it. 100%. I mean, the guy has done, for those that don't know David Goggins, what's the name of his book? You Can't Hurt Me?
Can't Hurt Me,
Can't Hurt Me, yeah. So the guy's like a human, superhuman.
Yeah.
He has, in a way, I wouldn't call it meditation, but a way to take his mind and his body to extremes. And he has very wisely understood that mind and body are one. So if your mind is there, your body can do anything, and your mind is limitless.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind is limited. You can imagine whatever you want. So that's why humans have been progressing so much. And you see it on things like the world record of holding your breath, Do you know?
But the recent, no, I have no idea.
The actual one. Have a guess.
Okay, I think I've heard something crazy like, I don't know, 30 minutes?
It's around 22 minutes or something like that. But yeah, it's crazy. Most people that I ask are like, 5-10 minutes. But the humans can do that. And when you talk to an apnea expert, what they do, I think I'm saying it right. Apnea, the people that dive down without any oxygen support, they just tell you need to convince your mind that you don't need to breathe. So it's a mental thing, right? Your body will do whatever it needs to do. So with that, we are breaking the limits of what humans can do. And so what's the limit, So with David Goggins for sure can do it. I'm pretty sure the idea and what I'm sharing in this new piece I'm writing is, it's your intention. It's like, make the best use of your time there. If it's 10 minutes that you're going to sit down, make good use of them. Really sit down for 10 minutes to practice. You're going to think, do not get disappointed. That's sort of the what I would say for anybody that wants to embark in this challenge of a Vipassana retreat or course.
Well, you've definitely convinced me. Actually, one of my favorite movies is Limitless. So in the light of that, I would love to try. I would love to do that as well. Okay, so we've pretty much delved deep into this. I guess I would like to ask, what would be your advice to people that have tried meditation, and they haven't necessarily had a good experience because probably they had these expectations and they weren't met.
Yep.
So now they're a bit sour about it. How would you maybe encourage or entice people like that to try again? And
trust the process. It's something that is happening scientifically and physically in your brain. You're developing new neural pathways. Your brain is becoming better at that, better able to handle change. That from the pure physical scientific perspective. From a more, let's say, esoterical side, you are becoming more self-aware. You are becoming a better person. You are healing your...
Hi there. I hope you're enjoying this episode. You can listen to the full audio version for free on your favorite podcast app. And if you are enjoying this video version, I invite you to join my exclusive Patreon community to support the making of the show and to unlock a ton of exclusive content, such as the full video episodes, bloopers, some controversial topics, and more personal questions from the guests, and much more. Link is in the description below.